Capricorn, something is shifting right now, and you may already be feeling it. The 8/8 Lionsgate portal is opening a powerful new chapter. If you're a Capricorn, stay with me, because this cosmic window may be pushing you to release an old version of yourself and step into a completely different timeline. 1. Why Capricorn is feeling this portal. So strongly, Capricorn, have you noticed it yet? That strange mixture of restlessness and clarity, that feeling of being tired of something you can't quite name, paired with a quiet, stubborn hope that refuses to go away. If you felt unusually emotional this week, or unusually motivated, or unusually reflective, almost like you're standing at the edge of something, you are not imagining it. We are moving through the 8/8 Lionsgate portal, and in spiritual and metaphysical traditions, this is considered one of the most potent energetic windows of the entire year. To be clear, this isn't a scientific claim. It's a symbolic, belief-based lens that many people use to interpret the timing of their lives. Think of it less as a scientific event and more as a spiritual checkpoint, a moment when many practitioners believe the veil between who you were and who you're becoming grows thin. The Lion's Gate is traditionally associated with the star Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky, and in ancient Egyptian spiritual tradition, Sirius's alignment with the sun around this time of year was seen as deeply significant, a symbolic doorway into renewal, courage, and illumination. Whether or not you believe in the astronomical mechanics of it, the emotional pattern is something people report again and again, a pull toward transformation, a pull toward truth, a pull toward finally becoming visible, even to yourself. And for Capricorn specifically, this portal tends to land somewhere very personal. You are the sign ruled by Saturn, the planet of structure, time, responsibility, and mastery. You already understand discipline. You already understand what it means to build something slowly, brick by brick, without applause. But that same strength can sometimes become a cage. You may have spent so long being the reliable one, the responsible one, the one who holds it all together, that you forgot to ask yourself a simple question. Is this life I built actually the one I want to keep living? That's the energy of this portal for you, Capricorn. It's not chaotic, it's not loud, it's quiet, internal, and deeply honest. It's the kind of shift that doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It announces itself in the small moments, in a sigh you didn't expect, in a memory that suddenly feels lighter or heavier, in a goal that used to excite you and now just feels like weight. So if you've been feeling unusually reflective lately, almost like you're taking inventory of your entire life, that's not randomness, that's not coincidence. Many spiritual traditions would say that's this portal working through you, asking you to look honestly at what you've built and to decide consciously what deserves to come with you into the next chapter. And Capricorn, there is one specific area of your life where this shift may become impossible to ignore. 2. The 8/8 energy and the meaning of 8. Let's talk about the number 8 itself, because in numerology, 8 is not a small or quiet number. It's one of the most powerful digits in the entire system. Turn it on its side, and you get the symbol for infinity. The endless loop. The idea that everything that ends becomes the beginning of something else. 8 represents cycles. It represents power, balance, material mastery, karma, and the deep truth that everything you put into the world eventually circles back to you. In many spiritual traditions, 8 is considered the number of manifestation through responsibility, not manifestation through wishing, manifestation through action, discipline, and follow-through, which, if you think about it, is almost eerily aligned with Capricorn energy itself. You already understand that nothing meaningful is built overnight. You already understand the value of patience, structure, and long-term vision. 8 doesn't ask you to believe in magic. It asks you to trust the process you've already been living. So when the portal doubles this energy, 8 on the 8th, many spiritual practitioners interpret it as an amplification, a loud spiritual echo of everything 8 already represents: balance, power, karmic completion, and the closing of one cycle so another can begin. And this is where it gets personal for you, Capricorn. Your entire sign is built around long-term achievement. You are the mountain goat, patiently climbing, rarely complaining, always looking upward. You know how to work. You know how to wait. You know how to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. That's your gift, and it always has been. But this portal isn't simply asking you to work harder. It may be asking you to stop carrying something that was never meant to follow you into your next chapter. 3. The old Capricorn timeline is closing. Here's something worth sitting with, Capricorn. Not everything you've been carrying was ever meant to be permanent. Think about the patterns you've normalized. Staying in a job long after it stopped fulfilling you, simply because leaving felt irresponsible. Staying in a relationship out of loyalty to the years already invested, even when something inside you quietly went numb. Constantly proving your worth to people who never once questioned it themselves. You just assumed they would, so you kept performing, kept achieving, kept holding the weight so no one else would have to. You are so used to being the strong one that you may have forgotten what it feels like to simply exist without earning your place. Many spiritual interpretations of this portal describe it as a symbolic closing of an old timeline. Not a punishment, not an ending forced upon you, but an invitation. An invitation to finally set down what was only ever meant to be a phase, not a permanent identity. The overworking, the suppressed emotions, the relationships kept alive purely out of obligation rather than genuine connection. The goals you're still chasing simply because you already spent so many years chasing them. Capricorn, you don't have to keep suffering just because you've already survived so much. That sentence deserves a moment of silence because so many of you operate from a hidden belief that struggle is proof of your worth. That if it isn't hard, it isn't real. And if you're not sacrificing something, you haven't truly earned your success. This portal is gently, persistently challenging that belief. It's asking you whether the life you're building is actually built on truth, or whether some of it is simply built on momentum, on doing what you've always done because stopping felt too unfamiliar. And the next sign may be the biggest confirmation that you're actually entering a new chapter. 5. Sign number 2. People and situations begin falling away. The second sign is quieter, but for many Capricorns, it's the one that hits the hardest. Certain people, environments, and even long-held habits may begin to naturally lose their place in your life. To be clear, this isn't about believing the universe is literally removing people from your path like some external force pulling strings. It's more accurate and more empowering to understand it as an internal shift. As you grow and your values evolve, some connections that once felt essential simply stop resonating the way they used to. Not because anything dramatic happened, not because there was a fight or a betrayal or a clean, cinematic goodbye. Sometimes closure doesn't arrive as a dramatic ending. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet realization that you no longer feel the same. You might notice a friendship that used to feel effortless now feels like work. A group chat you used to check constantly now goes unread for days. A relationship that once felt like home now feels like a room you've outgrown. This doesn't necessarily mean something was wrong with that connection. It may simply mean you've changed and the connection hasn't changed with you. For Capricorn especially, this can feel uncomfortable because you value loyalty deeply. You don't take relationships lightly and you don't walk away easily. But loyalty to a version of your life that no longer fits isn't strength. It's often just fear wearing the costume of commitment. And Capricorn, If you've been feeling unusually detached from something you once desperately wanted, listen carefully to what that feeling may be teaching you. 6. The career and money shift. Let's talk about the area of life most closely tied to your sign: career, ambition, and long-term security. Capricorn, you are ruled by Saturn, the planet of structure, mastery, and earned achievement, and career has always been more than just a paycheck for you. It's tied to your sense of identity, your self-respect, and your legacy. So it makes sense that during a portal centered around power, transformation, and cycles, many Capricorns find themselves reassessing exactly this area of life. This isn't a promise of sudden wealth or an overnight promotion. Nothing in this reading is a guarantee. What this portal often symbolizes, spiritually speaking, is clarity. A chance to step back and honestly evaluate whether the direction you're working toward still aligns with who you're becoming, or whether you've simply been on autopilot chasing a goal you set years ago without ever revisiting it. Ask yourself, are you working toward this goal because it genuinely excites you, or because stopping would mean admitting you might want something different now? Are you staying in this career path out of passion or out of the sunk cost of years already invested? Is your current relationship with money built on security, or is it quietly built on fear? This portal invites strategic reflection, not impulsive action. It's not asking you to burn everything down and start from nothing. It's asking you to get honest about whether your effort is being pointed in the right direction. Your next level may not require more pressure. It may require a better direction. But there is another area where this portal can create an even deeper awakening. And this one is personal. 7. The heart knows what the mind keeps. Avoiding Capricorn, I want to speak to you differently for a moment, because I know how good you are at appearing fine. You've mastered the art of composure. You can be exhausted, overwhelmed, quietly heartbroken, and still show up, still meet your responsibilities, still make sure everyone around you believes you have it together. That skill has served you in countless situations, but it has a cost, and that cost is emotional suppression. This portal often brings buried feelings to the surface. Old grief you never fully processed, boundaries you should have set but didn't, because setting them felt like conflict, and conflict felt like weakness. Self-worth that's been quietly tangled up with how much you produce, how much you achieve, how much you give to others before you give anything to yourself. There's a difference between loyalty and self-abandonment, and sometimes the line between them is so thin you don't notice you've crossed it until you're completely depleted. Loyalty says, I will show up for the people and goals that matter to me. Self-abandonment says, I will ignore my own pain to keep everyone else comfortable. Capricorn, so much of your strength has been built on the second one, and this portal may be gently asking you to practice the first one instead: loyalty to yourself. You can be strong and still admit that something hurt you. Read that again, because I don't think enough people have told you that. Admitting pain doesn't undo your resilience. It doesn't erase everything you've survived. It simply makes you honest. And honesty is where real healing actually begins. And if someone from your past suddenly comes back into your thoughts during this period, don't automatically assume it's a sign to return. 8. A return from the past. What does it really mean? During powerful portals like this one, it's common for old memories to resurface. A person you haven't thought about in months, an unfinished conversation, a dream you set aside, a version of your life you once imagined but never pursued. Spiritually, this resurfacing doesn't automatically mean destiny is calling you back to that person or that path. Sometimes a memory returns simply to be released, not relived. Sometimes it returns to show you exactly how far you've come. And sometimes, yes, it returns because there's an unresolved lesson still waiting to be understood. But understanding a lesson doesn't always mean reuniting with the source of it. If someone from your past has been on your mind, here are a few questions worth sitting with honestly. Did this person bring peace or confusion? Did the relationship allow you to become yourself, or did it require you to shrink? Are you missing the person, or the version of yourself you were with them? And this last one matters most. If nothing changed about the situation, would you still choose the same outcome? Sit with those questions. Don't rush the answers. Sometimes what feels like longing is actually grief for a chapter that already gave you everything it was meant to give. And sometimes the most spiritual response to a memory isn't chasing it. It's thanking it and letting it stay exactly where it belongs in the past. Because the real message of this portal may not be about getting something back. It may be about becoming someone who no longer needs what once controlled them. 9. Your new Capricorn. Chapter Capricorn. I want you to picture something for a moment. Picture the version of yourself standing on the other side of everything you've survived. Not a stranger, not someone unrecognizable, but a steadier, more grounded version of exactly who you already are. This new chapter isn't about becoming a completely different person. It's about becoming someone rooted in self-respect instead of self-sacrifice. Someone whose ambition comes from genuine desire instead of fear of falling behind. Someone who has learned finally that boundaries aren't betrayal, they're maturity. Someone who chooses goals because they matter, not simply because they were the next expected step. This portal, symbolically, is a checkpoint, a moment where you get to consciously decide what continues forward with you and what finally gets left behind. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. Everything you survived taught you something. Everything you released created space. And everything you learned is becoming part of the Capricorn you are becoming. Let that settle for a moment. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where your own story required you to be, gathering exactly the wisdom you needed before stepping into what comes next. Before this video ends, I want you to do one simple thing, and it could completely change how you approach this new chapter. 10. The Capricorn, 8/8. Reset. Here's a simple, grounded practice. No candles required, no elaborate ritual, just honesty with yourself. Step 1. Write down one fear you are ready to stop feeding. Not to eliminate it overnight, just to stop giving it your daily energy. Step 2. Write down one relationship or pattern that needs healthier boundaries. Be specific. Naming it is the first act of change. Step 3. Write down one dream you are willing to take seriously, not a fantasy you dismiss as unrealistic, something you're actually willing to give real effort to. Step 4. Choose one practical action you can take within the next 24 hours. Something small, something doable. Send the message, make the appointment, write the first paragraph, set the boundary in one conversation. This isn't about waiting for a supernatural event to rearrange your life for you. A portal doesn't have to change your life overnight. Sometimes the real shift happens when you finally decide to change the way you move through your life. 11. Final Capricorn message. Capricorn, let's slow down for these final moments. If something is leaving, let it leave with gratitude. If something is beginning, meet it with courage. And if you are standing between the person you were and the person you are becoming, don't be afraid of the space in between. That space is where transformation happens. You have spent so long proving your strength to everyone around you. Let this chapter be the one where you finally prove your peace to yourself. 12. The ripple effect, how this portal touches. Love, family, and home. Here's something worth understanding, Capricorn. When you begin to change from the inside out, it doesn't happen in isolation. The people around you often feel the shift before you've even named it out loud. Your partner, if you have one, may notice you communicating differently, less guarded, or perhaps more distant, depending on whether that relationship reflects the direction you're growing toward or the direction you're growing away from. Spiritually speaking, this isn't something to fear. A relationship built on genuine alignment tends to deepen when one person becomes more honest with themselves. A relationship that was already quietly mismatched tends to reveal that mismatch more clearly. Either way, the truth simply becomes easier to see. Family dynamics can shift too. Capricorn, you're often the one who holds the family together, the dependable one, the one who shows up, the one everyone assumes will handle it. This portal may bring up a quiet question. What would it look like to be loved for who you are, not just for what you provide? You might find yourself setting a boundary with a parent or sibling that you've never set before. That's not coldness, that's growth asking to be respected. And your home itself, the literal physical space you live in, may start to feel different too. Some of you will feel a pull to redecorate, to clear out clutter, to make your space reflect the person you're becoming rather than the person you used to be. Spiritually, many traditions view your home as an extension of your inner world. When your inner world shifts, it's natural for your outer world to want to catch up. None of this requires drastic action right away. You don't need to have a difficult conversation with your family tonight or redesign your entire apartment this weekend. Simply notice where the ripple is showing up. Awareness alone is often the first real step of the transformation. 13. Signs you're being prepared for something bigger. Capricorn, I want to leave you with something hopeful before we close, because everything we've discussed so far has largely been about release, letting go, setting boundaries, closing old chapters. But release always makes room for something, and there are a few quiet signs that suggest you're not just ending something, you're being prepared for something bigger. The first sign is a strange sense of calm in the middle of uncertainty. Normally, not knowing what comes next would send you into planning mode, into anxious overthinking, into trying to control every variable. If instead you've noticed an unusual sense of peace even without having the full picture, that's often a sign that on some level you trust what's coming, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. The second sign is that opportunities or ideas keep circling back to you in different forms. Maybe you keep hearing about the same subject from different people. Maybe an old idea you dismissed months ago suddenly feels relevant again. Spiritually, this kind of repetition is often interpreted as a nudge, as if life is gently insisting that this particular direction deserves your attention. The third sign is that your standards are rising. You may find yourself less willing to settle in relationships, in work, in how you spend your time. This isn't arrogance, Capricorn, it's alignment. As you grow, your tolerance for things that don't fit you anymore naturally decreases, and that's not something to feel guilty about. And the fourth sign, perhaps the most Capricorn of them all, you're thinking further ahead again. Not in an anxious, controlling way, but in a hopeful way. You're picturing a version of your future that actually excites you, rather than a future you feel obligated to maintain. That shift from obligation to genuine excitement is one of the clearest signs that you are no longer simply surviving your life. You are beginning to build one you actually want. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, comment, "I am ready" below. Let that be your declaration that you're ready to release what no longer serves you and move forward with clarity, courage, and purpose. And if you're a Capricorn, subscribe to the channel, because we're continuing to explore the cosmic themes, spiritual messages, and powerful shifts that may be influencing your journey. Like this video if it resonated with you. Share it with another Capricorn who needs to hear this. And remember, your next chapter doesn't begin when everything becomes perfect. It begins when you decide you're ready to walk towards something better. Capricorn, the shift isn't about becoming someone new. It is about finally becoming the version of yourself you were always capable of being.